Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven, question and answers edition. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 30-year veteran writer, illustrator, and editor of comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing games. And today's question comes from MKV in Michigan. He asks us, "Hey BR, why do you think there's so many newer creators in comics today that audiences don't like? Is it really political agenda, aka SJWism, or do you think there may be something else at play here?" Well, it's a combination of both, to be honest. There is some political agenda stuff going on in comics, of course, but that is the surface gloss of it, if you will. The crux of it, I think, is that as comic book fans get used to certain creators or certain things a certain way, they get a habit of supporting certain people, and then there's a turnover of the talent pool. There's just a reluctance and a general overall resistance to the new talent because they aren't familiar with the new talent. It doesn't help when publishers aren't marketing the talent properly and explaining why these people have been selected to come in and write and draw these new books, or they're falsely representing the creators. Marvel's Stormbreakers. Here's the hot new talent, and it's like, half of them have been working in the business for 10 to 15 years already. Just because they're the first time they've been with you doesn't mean they're new talent. Stuff like that kind of confuses the audience and causes resentment, I think. Now, that having been said, you kind of have to understand that part of that also belongs on the audience. We have to do our due diligence, and if we don't know who an author is, we've got the internet. You can look them up and find what you can about them. If you don't know who Tochi Onyebuchi, who is writing Captain America, Symbol of Truth, then you look that up and you see what else work he's done, and maybe you check that out and see if you like it before you make a decision on buying Captain America, rather than say, hey, who is this guy whose name I can't pronounce, and why should he be allowed to write Captain America? Do your research, find out who they are, and maybe you find out, hey, that wasn't so bad a choice, and you give them a chance, and maybe you're a little more open-minded, and maybe you end up liking them. Whereas if you didn't do a little bit of research and find out who they were, and you come in with a predisposition of disdain and disinterest, then no matter what they do, they're probably not going to be to your liking. So I think that's part of the problem there. It doesn't help that you see guys like your boy Zach or Thinking Critical running their mouths about the newer talent, or why is so-and-so on this book? Why can't they get a good writer like Jeff Johns or Scott Snyder or Mark Waid? I got news for you. 3 names I just named, they're boring as fucking hell. They're over. They're done. Goodbye. Audiences do get sick and tired of seeing people over and over and over and over again. And that's why they're getting replaced. It doesn't mean they're bad writers necessarily, but hey, when you're putting out people all the time, like Scott Snyder has 6-8 books a month, Cullen Bunn has 20 books a month, Bendis has 6 to 8 books a month, you get sick and tired of seeing them. So yeah, it's time to replace some of them. Doesn't mean they don't get to come back, but what it means is find some new writers for the rest of us who want to read something else. But publishers, when we tell you who we want, go get who we want. Don't pick people we've never heard of. If I tell you that I want to read, I don't know, say Ron Fortier or Bobby Nash on Batman, don't bring me, Jordan Anderson or, some other person whose work doesn't mean anything to me. I might even go look them up because I am one of those people who does go and look and see who they are if I don't know who they are. But if it's not who I asked for, I'm not necessarily going to be interested either. So listen to your audience base and who we're asking for. And if someone's asking for somebody that hasn't worked on the character, do your research and find out who that person is and maybe give them a shot to pitch at your project. Pitch something to your company. You might find something worth publishing rather than just going with whatever. I don't know. A lot of these people get in because of who they know and not what they know or what they can do. A lot of these hot new writers that you keep hearing about, Vita Ayala, Mags Visaggio, trying to think of their names, Matt Rosenberg, quite a few of them, many more of those. They came out of Scott Snyder's boot camps in college writing classes, more or less. And okay, if they didn't have that connection to Scott Snyder giving him his stamp of approval, would they be picked up? Maybe not so much. So I think that's part of the resentment for some of these writers as well, is because, hey, did they really earn it, or did they just get, stamped in and brought in because of who their friends were? Especially when we have so many veteran writers who haven't been on the scene in a while and have probably had a chance to recharge their creative batteries, have a chance to possibly come back and do something fresh. They're not getting talked to. There's a whole generation of independent creators from the 90s who have never really gotten a shot at the mainstream. And it's not because they're not good enough. It's because of the personal prejudices and the politics and stuff. So, and it's because the newer, younger editors don't know that generation of independent comics as well. So there you go. So that's all of the whole factors there. I think it's not just, people being anti SJW or saying everything's politically driven. It's, the fact that a lot of the audience doesn't even know who the creators are, and therefore they're already predisposed to disliking them. And there are ways, like I said, to counter that, and that is, instead of doing a Stormbreakers thing, making a big deal about people who've already been in the business, just, one-on-one interviews. I mean, if Marvel.com or DC.com had a YouTube channel where they actually sat down and had a conversation with these creators and who they are and what they've done in comics, but prior to working for Marvel or DC, what they've done as writers or artists elsewhere, to let audiences know that, hey, these people actually do have a reason for being here. There's a reason that they were chosen, other than, filling a quota of whatever nuance you think. I think a lot of the disinterest and disdain towards the newer talent would be lessened a much. It wouldn't completely go away, but it would be lessened a great deal. So I hope that answers your question, NKV, and we'll see you next time. If you guys have a question for me, Quoth the Raven, LBR72@gmail.com, subject QTR Q&A. And tomorrow we'll have another question, but we'll also be at 8 p.m. John Norris and I will be talking about the 1970s science fiction Saturday morning TV show, Arc 2, the complete series. We'll be reviewing that. It's a pretty cool show. So we'll see you guys tomorrow with that. In the meantime, if you like this program or you think someone else might, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to continue to get content from my channel. As always, I thank you for watching and for your support. If you want to reach out to me on social media, Facebook, Lewis.BrightRaven, Twitter @LewisBrightRave2. You can see some of my artwork at deviantart.com/BrightRaven. You've been watching Quoth the Raven, Lewis BrightRaven, exclusively on YouTube. Again, if you want to reach out to me, ask me a question, maybe commission some artwork, Quoth the Raven, LBR72@gmail.com is the address to reach out to me at. And if I don't get back to you within a day or so, try LewisBrightRaven@yahoo.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.